Come to the stadium. There, BOZAK will judge you.
Shrunken heads, broken legs, body parts on the concrete. Cut 'em up, butcher style gators in the swamp.
What's going on, Zombie Hunters? John Ryan here with IGN, and we are looking at Dead Island Riptide. Now, a lot of you may already be familiar with this skull-crunching, fetch-questing zombie RPG, but for those of you who may be new to the game, here are 5 tips to help get you up and running through the hordes of the undead. Now, first thing you're going to have to do is decide which of our 5 unlikely heroes you want to take up arms as. Now, they're the same 4 characters from the first game, Logan, John, me, Perna, and Sam B, as well as one new character, John Morgan. Now, both Perna and Logan are good choices for those of you who actually kind of like to attack from a distance. As an ex-football star, Logan's adept at hurling stuff over long distances, from hatchets and bats to the new throwing knives, and he also has an upgradable ability to auto-retrieve those thrown items. Perna, on the other hand, is best suited with a gun, and as a bonus, she gains some serious boosts to her critical hit chances and damages with firearms, and she can also carry double the amount of ammunition of anybody else in the group. Her Fury mode also unleashes infinite ammo and automatically targets any enemy within range. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, who drink blood like a vampire without warning.
Now, if you like to get a little bit more up close and personal, then you probably want to try one of the other 3 characters. Sam B gains bonuses for using blunt 2-handed weapons, which you'll honestly likely find more plentiful than firearms or blades, and eventually he gets the ability to regenerate his entire health bar. Now, if you prefer more quiet but deadly approaches, why not give John Mi a go? While she might be weaker than most, especially against, higher level enemies, she can learn to sneak around the infected with her Spectre skill and perform stealthy backstab attacks on unsuspecting enemies. Now then, of course, there's the new guy. Now, I've been playing as the new Brawler class, this guy John Morgan, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. He gets bonuses for using hand-to-hand and one-handed weapons, and with the claws equipped, it's really hard not to feel like Wolverine. He can also upgrade his abilities to regain health from critical strikes, which happen a lot when you're using hand-to-hand weapons. Plus, he's probably got one of the best melee attacks in the game, the Big Boot. Alright, this next tip is one that will really help you right from the get-go, and that's to use height to your advantage. All over the maps you'll find ladders, cars, boxes, crates, all of which you can clamber up onto to give yourself a fighting edge. Jump off on top of a car or platform and swing away at the squishy zombie bits as they try and grasp at you and, wish they could jump. This comes in especially handy early on in the game when your arsenal is somewhat limited, but it also works equally well in fighting more powerful enemies later on.
I got a zombie army and you can't harm me. Yeah, who bitch? Drink blood like a vampire without warning. Who bitch? Stand up. Sam B got the thing that go bump in the night. Whoa, who bitch? Hide your kids, grab your wife, better get out of sight.
Third, figure out what you're good at. Not like you in real life. I mean, when the zombies come, it won't matter how good you are at drawing cats or writing angsty poetry about your feelings. I mean, build your skills in-game suited to your character's natural abilities. For example, if you're playing as John, his specialty is hand-to-hand combat, which means unlike someone, like Perna, you'll be doing a lot of close-range melee attacks. So upgrade his proficiency with one-handed or close-quarters weapons. Make it so you can regenerate health quicker or use less stamina when punching and kicking zombies to death. The stronger you are in the earlier hours of the game, the easier it will be to level up faster later on. This next one is actually a pretty simple one. Just pay attention to the rarity of the items that you're picking up. This will save you a fair amount of cash on weapons repairs, especially early on in the game. Basically, how it works is this. Each weapon is assigned a value based on how rare it is, and whatever color it appears as in your inventory dictates how much it's worth. The list from top to bottom goes gold, purple, blue, green, white. You might notice some gray in there once in a while, but that only means it's well below your current level. So the rarer the item, the more money it'll cost you to repair. If you find, let's say, 2 machetes with equal stats, but one is white and one is blue, keep the white one for yourself and either drop or sell the blue one. The only time you don't want to do this is when you find a gun, because guns don't need repairing. Just, make sure you've got enough ammo in your pack. Finally, and this one can be more of an experiment for you than anything else, but try out fighting in both digital and analog modes. Essentially, the difference between them is that in digital mode, your attacks will be random swats and swipes and swings with whatever melee weapon you happen to be using. And, if you let the reticle hover over a certain weak point like the head or the arms, you'll be more likely to strike there. But by using the analog mode, you'll enter a combat stance and be able to control the direction of your attacks. And this works best with bladed or blunt weapons, but that doesn't mean that Sam B or Xian Mei are the only characters who can use this tool effectively. Analog mode works best when you're facing single enemies, like boss zombies with weak points to target, or single walkers that you can kind of practice for targets with. Now, when in a combat stance, your character locks onto whatever target is closest to you, so trying to face down a horde of 5 or 6 enemies usually won't end well. However, if you remember all the way back up to the second tip I gave you, if you find yourself perched above a group of monsters, you can gain extra experience by using analog mode to target specific body parts before killing them. For example, as opposed to just punching them to death, you'll get more XP for, say, breaking their arms before delivering a fatal blow. Go ahead and experiment with both modes, see how they work with your character. But for instance, since I'm playing with John and focus mostly on fast hand-to-hand strikes, I'll probably stick to digital. But when I start a game with Sam B and want to disarm any of the thug zombies I run into, they're the big, slow ones that kind of lumber around screaming a lot, analog mode's going to be my new best friend. So that should be enough to get you up and running, either straight into the hordes of the undead or screaming off down the beach like a little girl. So for more on Dead Island Riptide and all your zombie hunting needs, keep it locked right here on IGN.